Hi there, it's Natasha Collier here, and today I'm going to be giving you some tips about home staging, little tricks of the trade, and tell you all about the benefits of home staging. So, firstly, what qualified me to talk to you about staging? Well, I own a very successful home staging business, Dressing Rooms. I've been on multiple interior design courses and staging courses, and we implement those learnings on a daily basis. I also invest in property myself and therefore have a true understanding of what investors want and need and can really know the best way to help them. So let's get started. The first thing that people generally ask is, why do we need to stage a property? They've done a refurb, it looks fab, and they think they're done. But there really is so many ways that staging can help your property to sell or rent. But the ultimate benefit for me is that it makes your property stand out online. Currently, we're in a sea of grey and white and off-white, and it becomes very samey. By staging the house, you can add colour, style, and really sell a lifestyle. With furniture and accessories, you breathe life into the space and make viewers imagine themselves living there. They want to sip champagne in that kitchen, they want to roll out of bed to that gorgeous view, and as buying a property is normally such an emotional decision, you really want to play on those feelings as much as possible and absolutely sell the lifestyle. The other benefit that staging can help with is it really helps you to imagine the space. So people are generally quite rubbish at imagining a space with furniture in it. They'll see a bedroom and ask, will a double bed fit? They'll walk into a kitchen diner and wonder if there's enough room. And by staging, you can really help to address those concerns. You show off an example of how the space can be used and prove that the room really is as spacious as they want it to be. Whether they use the room like that or not, it's up to them, but at least it shows the space off. So, top tip number one is to make a good first impression. Add gorgeous flowers and a console table into the entrance hall to kick things off to a great start. Not only do fresh flowers make the property feel more welcoming, but they also add colour and a nice scent. Just don't forget to water them. It's definitely not a good idea to have dead flowers in your property. If you don't visit the house that often or live further afield, a good alternative is a realistic looking fake plant. Easy to maintain, but still ticks a lot of boxes. Top tip number two is to don't ignore the smell. Use diffusers to make the property smell less like fresh paint and more like a home. It's best to pay a particular attention to the entrance hall and kitchen, as this is often where first impressions are made. Top tip number three is to use colour in artwork, cushions and lampshades to make a property stand out. Splashes of colour catch your eye on Rightmove and really stand out amongst the sea of grey and white. You can afford to be a little bold here. Bright colours are not something to be scared of as long as you do it right. Ideally, you should pick 2 or 3 complementary colours and keep it limited to that. If they match in well with all the elements coming together and you have consistency, then the look will look properly put together. Try Googling the colour wheel to see what colour pairs are recommended. Top tip number 4 is marketing. Don't add curtains or blinds into your property. Often people will walk past and peek inside. If the curtains are shut, they may just walk on past and forget about it. But if they can see inside and love it, you can guarantee they'll book a viewing. One of our mentors has had at least 3 sales from people wandering past, peeking in the window and absolutely falling in love with the property. Top tip number 5, use plants. They add texture, colour and make the room feel less stark and more lived in. They can also be useful for adding into a corner or an empty space and just where it gets a little bit tricky to add a piece of furniture. You can pick up fake plants everywhere these days and they look really realistic. They're also super on trend right now, so you really can't go wrong. Top tip number 6 is add a little bit of luxury and sell a lifestyle. Use a wine glass, candles and a book on a bath tray and it gives the feel of a luxurious bubble bath, the kind you see in films. Add a champagne bottle and glasses in the kitchen, sell the dream and provoke viewers to think of what they could have if they chose to live in this property. Lastly is don't be too personal. Remove photo frames or any personal trinkets. If you have a slightly eclectic style, keep it under wraps. Remember, you want to appeal to the masses here and make a member of the general public fall in love with your property enough to part with thousands and thousands of their hard-earned savings. So take inspiration from style magazines and Pinterest and to think about what's currently on trend instead of your personal style. I also want to touch a little here on photography. Photos are the initial thing that draws people to a house, so you need to make sure they're good. I see so many people might make quite basic errors with photography, so here are just a few tips from my professional photographer to help. Number 1, get the lights on in every room. There's nothing worse than a dark space. It'll make the house look gloomy and dingy, even with a bright light refurb and white walls. On the same point as this, is to try and get as much daylight into the house as possible. Try and take photos on a bright morning and don't leave it until later in the day. Everyone loves a bit of sunshine and it does help rooms to look super light and airy. Top tip number 2. Once you've taken the photos, don't over-edit or overexpose the photos. Let people see the house as it is. We can all tell an Instagram filter a mile off these days, and if something is over-edited, people may start to think all is not what it seems. So follow the staging tips I've mentioned, make the house very well presented, and photograph the reality. Top tip number 3. Take a few close-up lifestyle shots, but make sure you have some wide-angle shots that show off the whole room. The close-ups are fab, but at the end of the day, people want to see the room in its entirety, so wide angles are great. If you don't have a wide angle option, step outside the doorway and angle the camera into the room to get as much of it in as possible. Number 4, pick a line and stick with it. By this I mean don't have wonky angles. Try to have your camera lens parallel to the window frame, for example. This should mean your photo is level and straight. I also recommend not taking them from too low down. Eye level is good, or crouch down slightly, but don't try and be too arty with it and lie on the floor. Finally, number 5, think about where your images are going. Horizontal works best for Rightmove, but vertical shots tend to get more into the shot if you're squaring them up for social media. If this all sounds like a bit of a faff, let Dressing Rooms help. We specialise in staging empty homes for sale and often work with investors and developers. We cover a lot of the north, so get in touch to see if we can help you. Prices start from around $995, and as staging helps properties to sell faster and for more money, it's a great return on your investment. Sellers are so often quick to drop the price by £5,000 to get a quick sale, but investing in staging is a fraction of that and normally a much more lucrative option. We also have a virtual staging service which we do nationwide. This involves digitally furnishing and accessorising your property to help it stand out online and attract lots of viewings. If you'd like to know more about anything we do or want more advice, please get in touch with me, Natasha, today.